Hey everybody, my name's Jordan. I'm with the Wilderness Training and Leadership School. Today's show is going to be about terms and phrases, the lingo that will help you as you bridge into the world of outdoor adventure and backpacking. So we'll get right into it. The phrase we're going to cover is what's known as base weight. Base weight is calculated by all the items of equipment that you're going to take with you on your backpacking trip that don't include expendables. Expendables meaning things like food, water, fuel, those things that you'll use up over the course of time. Base weight is the bare minimum items that you'll take with you and how much all that weighs. We're going to talk about beta. This term originated from the Betamax, if anybody's familiar with those ones. But uh, essentially, beta is inside information by somebody who has been on the route that you're going to go on lately. They've been down the trail, they've logged the info, and they're passing it on to you in a credible and timely fashion. It's got to be fairly recent. Things that happened a couple of years ago aren't necessarily the way that the trail will look today. A lot of times you can get good beta about an upcoming hike from maybe talking to people in town close by or on online message boards. They tell you about tricky spots, shortcuts, maybe caches, hiker boxes, and other good to know information. One thing that I'd specifically look for is information about wildlife in the area. We're going to talk about beaners. This is short for carabiner. This is a metal loop with a spring-loaded opening that's usually generally for ropes. These are really big in the world of outdoor climbing, rappelling, but carabiners come in all sorts of sizes, and there's a lot of good times that you can use those to attach equipment to your kit. That way you don't lose it. Next up, blue blazer. So on any given trail, you're going to see markings that show you where the trail is. These are known as blazes. Now on the Appalachian Trail specifically, these are about 2 inches by 6 inches, or vertical rectangles that are painted white on trees, rocks, signposts, things like that show you where the trail is actually at. Blazes can come in different colors though. In our case, a blue blaze shows an alternate path towards maybe an ancillary activity on the trail. So somebody that's a blue blazer will take advantage of those blue blazes to go see things that somebody who's a purist, we'll talk about purists in here in a little bit, they're not going to necessarily see. Book time. Book time is the estimated amount of time that a hike is supposed to take, and that's based on some kind of standard information for somebody. And hikes are pretty subjective, but generally speaking, when they're calculating book time, it's 30 minutes for each mile plus an additional 30 minutes for about 1,000 feet of elevation gain along the hike. So to figure out your book time, you're going to take a look at the total distance, and if you have a good topo map, you're going to take a look at how much elevation you're actually traveling. Do that time distance analysis to figure out what your book time is. Next up, Bluebird Day. So that is a completely cloudless day with clear blue skies. It's completely unrelated to spring or to bluebirds, so just keep that in mind. But this kind of weather, it's really something that can give you a good sense of euphoria and really a gusto attitude when you're out there hiking. It really reminds you what you're out there for. So cowboy camping, this is meaning when you are camping out under the stars instead of a shelter. And there's some caution to go with this. It's a calculated one. When you're cowboy camping, there's a lot of factors that go into it. You got to think about the bugs that are in the area, how thick they are, any kind of weather like rain or snow, and all the other possible things that might impact your decision to be a cowboy camper. Just one thing we'd like to recommend is that if you are going to cowboy camp one night, or if you plan to along your trip, you should take some kind of shelter with you because you don't know how fast the conditions can change and the ways that being a pure cowboy camper can come back and kind of bite you. Hiker midnight. So hikers, when you're on the trail, you're out there, you're sweating a lot, you're being very physically active. When the sun goes down, there's a natural pause, and you're going to want to go to sleep. And really, this is really good for you because then you're not wasting any daylight. And hiker midnight's usually around 9 p.m., maybe sometimes a little bit earlier. But that's when the sun goes down, and a lot of hikers get some sleep. That way they can get that 8 hours that's really necessary to recuperate and regenerate yourself for the next day's hike. So a herd path. A herd path is an unofficial but really kind of obvious route that hikers use from one place to another. We also call them maybe goat trails. But these paths are overused, and they really work against the principles of leave no trace in many cases. We'll talk about leave no trace. Hike your own hike. So when you go to an outdoor area, you want to go to do things that make you happy and see the things that you want to go see, not necessarily all the things that everybody else has gone to go see. So keep that in mind, HYOH. Make that a hashtag. Hike your own hike. Leave no trace. So this is really important to backpackers because the wilderness areas that we all go through, many people have been through those areas before too. And if they're practicing leave no trace, best case scenario is that you don't even know that they were there. So pick up trash, leave fires all over the place, that kind of stuff. There are 7 different principles, and we'll talk about leave no trace in a later video. But you want to leave the least impact on the land while recreating. So a purist is a hiker who wants to go through every white blaze on the trail, and they only stick to those white blazes. They don't deviate even an inch off of the main trail for side trails. Sometimes it's okay to be a purist, especially if you're going on extremely long hikes like the Appalachian Trail. When you get stuck on some of those blue blazes or yellow blazes or red blazes or whatever kind of blazes you might have, your time can be really inflated. And that really does matter, especially when you are in a wilderness setting. You only have so much stuff on your back. So redlining. Redlining can have a couple different connotations, but in this context, we're talking about in a single area, hiking every trail that's possible. When you go to a specific area, many times you might want to pull out a topo map and take a red pen and go through every trail that you've been on. And then you'll know which trails you haven't been on, which parts of that area that you may have left to explore. When you've done every trail in that area and they're all marked out on your map, that's called redlined out. And you really must know that area like the back of your hand because you've been through everywhere that you can. Self-camping is the idea that you're going to find a spot where maybe nobody finds you, and that can be very deliberate. And it really works in the context of leave no trace, because when there's a few people that might be in the area, you want them to explore that same area that you've been in and feel that same sense of euphoria and discovery that you felt. So practicing stealth camping is good, but you have to be careful about it. That way you don't put yourself into an unsafe situation. Hiking. When we talked about being a purist, this is really kind of go hand in hand. You go the entirety of a long distance trail in one go. Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, Continental Divide Trail, there's a lot of through hikers there. They go the entire distance in one shot. They don't take a break. Sometimes that can take months. So if you're going to through hike, you have to plan for an extended period of time and how you're going to resource yourself in the backcountry. For our final term, we're going to talk about trailheads, and that's where the hike starts or stops. This show in particular is a trailhead for the Wilderness Training Leadership School. It's where we're going to cross over from being in civilization to being in the backcountry. Most trailheads, especially those that are regulated by government agencies, they have like a parking lot, and they'll offer a stand with some free maps. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not. They have some information about the hikes that you can access from them, but trailheads are usually the place to start. I hope that this show today helped you learn some lingo and really start getting into the world of outdoor adventure and backpacking. Feel free to leave some comments.